All right. Welcome back, everyone, from the 5-10 minutes break. So we are going to start with what we call the Linux structure. Okay. So every operating system has what is called a structure. Okay, or file structure. Okay. Every operating system is made up of files and folders. Okay. So the same way in Windows, we have a file structure. For example, let me check. I'm using Windows, so let me just go to my Windows. Okay. Um, when you go to your Windows, you will see that um, what we call the C drive. You can see it here, Windows C, Windows C. So when you see it here, Windows C, this C is the um, window, okay? Windows operating system. The same way when it comes to Linux operating system also has its own. And what is that of the Windows Linux operating system? That of Linux operating system uh, is a slash. It's a slash. I'm trying to open up in an empty note so that I can write on it. It's a slash. Okay, so when you open up, you can see it the moment we start using um this thing to size. It's a slash. It's a slash. So I don't know what it's like here, but let me slash if I find not here. But so that of is a slash like this. This is that of Kali operating system. So when you go to your Windows operating system, it has its own what is made up of made up of Windows files, Windows folders that the operating system needs to run. So that is where all the files in your system are saved. So for the Windows is the C drive. For Linux is the slash. Okay. So in the file structure of a Kali, these are some of the file structures you will see there in the file structure of a Kali. Okay, you see something like this. So I want to open up my Kali right now. Okay. Okay. I want to open up my Kali. Remember, I said I'm using VMware. All right, so VMware station. So some other person might decide to use Visual Boss, but like I said, whenever you're ready, just DM me. I will help you with the installation. All right. So my VMware is loading. I've mounted my Kali already on it. So what I want to do is just to open it up and then we'll use it for practical. And at the same time, we'll also see how Kali looks like. And at the same time, we will see how the file structures are being used in Kali. Remember what I said earlier, that if we do well in cybersecurity, you have to make Kali Linux your friend. Okay. Whether you like it or not, it must be your friend. If not, you won't be able to go far. And at the same time, you will maximize the best in cybersecurity. Okay. Kali is not user friendly like Windows, but at the same time, for me, is even one of the best operating system. There's so many things I've seen in Kali I appreciate a lot more than that of other operating system. Okay, it might not be that for you, but you just have to make up your mind just to find a way and make Kali, your friend. Okay, if not, you won't be able to use a lot of things or do a lot of things in cybersecurity. If I am personally to define Kali, I wouldn't even have called it Kali. I would have given it the same name with the cybersecurity because it looks like see if it is the engine room or the main force or the main tool or system upon which upon which the upon which cybersecurity runs. Okay. So this is so important that we take note of that because as time goes on, we might not be hearing of once we start going deeper, we might not be hearing of certain operating system terminologies or certain things I'm saying just like that. I'm going to be using the terms that fit into the cybersecurity and fit also into the operating system we are using. So Kali is loading. So it's done loading here. So one of the things about it is that it has a default login system, default login, which is Kali, and the password Kali. So once you log in, this is how it looks like. Okay. This is how it looks like. I think why it's like this is because I was working on something here that I did not close. So let me just, this is like some, this is how it looks like. Okay. Okay. So this is how it looks like. Okay. This is so I can begin to open the stuff. Look at it. You can see the files. You can see the folders, sorry. You can see the folders. You can also see there's no files first now. Okay, if I open my file system, look at my file system, this is the file structure of Kali. Okay, so our job here is to see what all these folders and the files contains, and at the same time, look at the structures and how they are operated. Okay. So, all right, sorry about that. So let's get back. So these file structures are generated for the Linux operating system. There are some file structures that are here as well, that when you look at file structure in Kali, you will not see them there. But when you look at file structure in Red Hat or other Linux, you are going to find them there, right? So, but in some Linux system, you are going to see what we call the net folder or net directory. So each time you hear me mention directory, I mean folder. I'm going to say it again. Each time you hear me mention directory, I'm referring to as folder. All right. In a window, it's called folders. For example, this is my Windows. Okay. So this is these are folders, Windows folders right now. You see it here. Okay. These are Windows folders. But in Kali, they are not called folders. They are called directories. Okay. So this is, let me go back to my Kali. So my Kali, they are not called folders like this. They are not called folders. They are called directories. So each time you hear me mention directories, no, I am referring to folders. Okay. This is important that we take note of. Okay. So we have what we call the net directory. Net directory is where remove file systems are mounted. Okay. There are ways you can put your system remotely. All the files that are in it are saved in the folder, in the net directory or net folder. All right. Okay, it saves the information there. Okay. So when you look at the file system, you are going to see also we'll have the OPT or optional. This is where we'll have third-party softwares or tools or applications are saved. So like I said, Kali comes with all the tools, comes with all the application that we'll be needing. But if in any time we need a third-party application, that's an application that doesn't come with Kali, so you can decide to save it at the optional or in the optional directory. That is why it is optional. You can choose to, or you can choose not to. That is what it is designed for optional application, for third-party application. The next is the ETC. This is where all the configuration files are saved. Now, for all the softwares you have, you want to configure them, you want to locate their files, they are all saved in the ETC directories. So we'll have the proc. This is where the information about your system are saved. For example, if you want to get information about your RAM, about your hard disk, this is where the whole information are saved in the proc directory. Okay. Next is the root. The root directory is reserved for the administrator. Okay. It is the administrator of that system that has access to the root of the folder. Okay. No other person have access to that, only the administrator. So we'll have the SBIN. So this is where the programs that are used by the system and system administrators are saved. Okay. So we have the temp. The temp is a space for use by the system. All right. So maybe you are practicing on something, you don't want it saved on your system. You can just save it on the temp directory. So the next time you put up your system, it can come up as temp directory. So if you have any work you want to save permanently in your system, you shouldn't save it in the temp directory. So the next is the USR. This is where programs, libraries, documents for all users or a related program are saved. Okay. So sometimes you want to check some information like documentation or some tools. So this is where you can find them. All right. So finally, we have the var. So for those of all who know how to write code, so you might be writing code and you create variables. All right. So what are variables? Variables are temporary files created by users. Okay. So these are where the variables are saved. Okay. As well as other things like queuing, or the files are saved there. Okay. So this is what we can find in the var. As far as other information like information of the logs, they are all saved in the var. Okay, so these are all the 5 systems. So as we proceed in this course, at the point we will begin to get familiar with what we can do with those directories and what they are as well used for. Okay, so next is the terminal. Okay, what is the terminal? You know that every operating system has what is called the GUI, all right? GUI. Every operating system has what is called the GUI. The GUI stands for graphical user interface, okay? Every operating system has what we call the GUI. It stands for graphical user interface. Graphical user interface. Okay. Now we also have what we call the CLI. CLI stands for command line interface. Okay. All right. So the GUI is your normal operating system. That's the graphics area. For example, all the places you are clicking, for example, here now, this is my, okay, like home, computer, video, blah, 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 that you can click on. All of them are called the GUI. Okay, all right. Like, so also have the CLI. Okay, so CLI is also an area where you can interact with the system, but in that case, you will be using what is called the commands. Okay, so it doesn't have a beautiful system like this. For example, you want to click on home now, you can click. You want to check the USI, you can click. VAR, you can click. Okay, but it's not like that in the terminal. All right, the terminal is like a text area where you can use commands to get into your system. So how do you access this thing called command, or the place called command in your system or in your Kali? Now, if you come up here, you can see the one right after the browser, which is dark, all right? There's one, okay, once you keep your mouse on it, you are going to see it, terminal emulator is going to come up, okay? Let me say that, let me close up all the terminals first. Let me close up all the terminals and then let me open new ones so that you can think how we're gonna finish. Okay, so if you come to here, you will see text editor. Okay, you will see at the same time, this is your text editor. Okay, this is your browser. You see it, you can see your browser here. Okay, if you come here as well, this is where you have all your application. If you click on it, you see all your applications. So you see your terminal. For those using it for the first time, you will see your terminal here. So just click on it, or just once you click on it, it brings you to the terminal. So something like this. So you see, each time I want to go to the terminal now, I'll just go to this black stuff. So this is an example of what the terminal looks like. Okay, so you can use this black box at any time. Just click on it, it opens here. So you can use here to do anything. You can also do with your GUI. You can copy files through your GUI. So you can copy files through your terminal. You can open a browser through your terminal. You can read text through your terminal. There is nothing you cannot do on your terminal. So as a cybersecurity professional, you have to get used to this terminal, because most of the tools that you are going to be using, 90% of the tools that you're going to be using are compatible with the terminals. So it means that those tools only run when you use them on a terminal. They don't have GUI application. They don't respond to GUI. They don't even have it. So you have to be, most of 90% of the tools you're going to be using. All right. So every operating system has their own emulator, or every operating system has a software that can emulate this terminal. That's the right word. Now, for Mac operating system, let me go back to the notes. For Mac operating system, we have what we call the terminal. All right. For those of you who use Mac, you can search for terminal. You will see it there. All right. It looks exactly as like what you saw in Kali. All right. For Windows, we have what we call the PuTTY. All right. Okay. The PuTTY is a software that you can use to connect to the terminal. So is a terminal emulator. A terminal emulator is something that emulates or something that mimics. Okay. Emulator is something that emulates, or something like, let me use this word clone. When you clone something, is an emulator, right? So for some of us who play games, when you are playing a football game, you are emulating the real footballer, maybe Messi, Ronaldo, but when you're playing a football game, you are emulating the real person. So for Linux, also we have the terminal, we have the KDE console and Xtab. These are different softwares that can emulate the terminal. All right. Okay. So this is what it looks like. I've shown you that from Kali, what it looks like. Okay. So, and like I told you on the day we started, like my classes are majorly practical. So at every module, I try to integrate practicals that helps you gain understanding in what we are doing. Okay, so we'll be looking at important and common Linux commands. So there are a lot of commands out there, but we are going to be focusing on the ones that are, common and are also important. All right. So the first command we are going to be looking at is what we call the sudo command. Okay, the sudo command. All right. So what is the sudo command used for? Okay. So what is the sudo? What is the sudo command used for? All right. What is the sudo command used for? So before we go into that, I'll let you take a 5 minutes break. Okay. We'll come back and continue with the sudo with the Linux command. Thank you so much. See you in the next 5 to 10 minutes. All right. Bye-bye.